Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your girl Mocasso, and we are here for one of my metacasts, Evolutionaries. Now, you guys know I always tell you we can all see society is evolving. The way we connect, work, socialize, and even dress is transforming daily. And this metacast is dedicated to sitting down with those that see this time as an opportunity and dive into how they're evolving along with it. Now, today I have the pleasure of sitting down with KynaKool, and I'm going to say she's a little bit more than KynaKool. But I will let her tell you guys all about the amazing things that make her exactly cool throughout this podcast or metacast. And I would say, even to get this introduction started, I had the chance to explore her gallery already, and there's this beautiful verbiage on the wall that explains her gallery, and I loved it because it said so much, and then her pictures said the rest. So I did take a picture of that, and I would love to read it so that you guys can understand exactly who we're about to talk with, and then we'll get right into it. So I Love DC is the first solo virtual presentation of artist KynaKool. The selected photos were taken during a time period between 2018 and 2021. It explores her work within local activism, DMV music, and her community. I Love DC shows the level of care Uwami has for photographing her city, as she not only highlights the vibrancy of its music and culture with portraits of some of its most influential artists, but she also makes sure it brings awareness to the issues plaguing its residents. Understanding the adversity her community faces, it's important to not convey these tragedies within her work. But she also reflects on the perseverance, which weaves a sense of unity among the people, showcasing moments of empathy, compassion, and joy, which is seen in her work, documenting demonstrations and everyday people. Born to immigrant parents who arrived from Nigeria to DC in the 80s, Kyna experienced firsthand of what it's like growing up in the city. And I Love DC is an honest portrayal of that love she has for DC. And from somebody who was raised in the DMV area, I was born in New York, but raised in the DMV for majority of my life, everything she said about that area is so true, especially Chocolate City. So KynaKool, I would love for you to introduce yourself, and then we'll dive in from there.
Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful introduction, and thank you for taking the time to view my gallery, and I really appreciate it. I'm happy that you enjoyed it. Well, like she said, my name is Kyna. I go by KynaKool. That's my artist name, or if you're looking at my photographs, you may look me up. I go by Kyna. And I'm an editorial and portrait photographer. I'm also the founder of Golden Studios, which is a pop-up photo booth and studio. And I discovered photography my freshman year in college, and eventually became a professional freelancer in 2017. That was a few years after I graduated. And I've worked with a number of publications as a freelancer since then, including the Washington Post, the Fader, Bloomberg Business, Starbucks, Inc. Magazine, the New York Times, and a few others. I always approach photography as an art, which has helped me to better understand myself and the world around me. And like I said in my gallery, I grew up in a traditional Nigerian household. So art nor expression was something that was encouraged too much, but being my rebellious self, I always gravitated towards the arts to have that freedom of expression. And photography was just something that I picked up, and I was always attracted to it because I felt that it allowed me to have a voice within society and also be a representative to others that may have come from the same places I come from, but didn't have that same voice. So that's it in a nutshell. And I'm happy to be here again, and thank you for having me. Crypto X, I love this community that you all are building. I'm just happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Of course. And I mean, I think you're diving into something right there when you talk about that rebelliousness, right? That when you have this creativity and the whole world and your family is telling you what you should be doing, but there's something inside of you that is just wants to do something else and let that creativity out. And so, I love starting with understanding where people, what they were doing before they came into Web3, but you just kind of covered that. And I love how you have been able to showcase your work in so many different places, especially with the kind of images that you portray and the messages that they come. So I would love to talk about how you've even started to evolve and dive into that evolution of KynaKool by starting to understand what motivated you to step into the Web3 space. So you're in college, you dive into photography, you're getting your photos featured in the Washington Post and other amazing things. But what made you want to take this step into Web3?
So just my natural inclination. I'm always very curious. So I'm always trying to learn new things. That's just natural for me. But as far as being a photographer, I before Web3 I existed as normal in the Web2 space as I still currently do, and just being active on socials, just which included just me sharing my photography, building networks within the photography community, and also creating real life experiences through my photography, which has helped me build a community. And even within my studio, I've been able to throw pop-ups, portrait events, different things like I threw a wellness pop-up earlier this year. I had thrown an art show where I had 12 local artists feature their work. A lot of them, this was their first time featuring work. So I've been able to do that type of work in the Web2 space, just as a photographer. And I would say community organizer at this point, because I've just been kind of just expanding myself. And so when I saw the Web3 space came, I had first learned about it through NFTs, through a community that I'm a part of called Black Women Photographers. And I had attended a webinar. It was hosted by Diana Sinclair, who is super popular right now, and Lauren. And from there, I decided to continue to do my own research, because I'm not somebody that hops on trends. I always like to take my time with things to understand if it's something for me. That's just how I operate. So it took me a year after learning about it to really start to really educate myself and create my first collection. And so, I just did a lot of research, and what I found that was the blockchain technology. It just interested me so much because I was already building a community, and so I was just attracted to the possibilities of expanding that, and also being able to build a collector base within the space, and also being able to track where my work goes in the secondary market, because I was already in the Web2 space already. I'm already selling prints, and I'm doing the work, managing the work, just having a directory of my collectors and an Excel sheet. So what attracted me was that with the blockchain, it acts as a ledger and it keeps that information for me. So that's something that definitely interested me. And so I'm able to see where my work goes in the secondary market and also collect royalties on that. So that's really what interested me, and just being able to build a different business model that I could incorporate within my photography business, and in ways where I can create more ownership for myself. So that's the goal for most of us as artists. I don't know about some people, but that's for me. I want to own my infrastructure, most of what I do, so I can be able to pass that down and create generational wealth within my family. And so that's a little bit of what interested it to me.
Yes, and man, you just unpacked a lot right there, because talk about that generational wealth and those royalties. Like you said, you're already selling prints, and now your kids and their kids can get royalties on that forever, and it be all on the ledger and smart contracts, so they don't have to do nothing to collect that. Like you said, this technology really does help creators take what they're doing already and just evolutionize that business model, like you said, and just, make it a little bit better where you can now focus on taking more pictures and more collectors, and they'll worry about tracking it and everything else. And so that even takes me into that next question on, so now that you have started building this brand in Web3, how are some of the ways that you have started to establish this brand in Web3? Are you using, I know, of course, you have your pictures as NFTs, and you already said you're, building your community, but what is your brand in comparison to Web2 and Web3, if that makes sense? Like, what are you adding?
Now, my brand is just making sure I exist in this space as a Black woman from the hood. I come from DC. A lot of people don't know it's not the easiest place to grow up in, but just existing in this space and being able to be a representative for people like me, so that when someone is thinking of doing something, it doesn't have to be so far-fetched. They can already kind of have an example of somebody that's already doing, this work. Just like when I first launched my gallery, I had a friend, she attended the gallery, and she goes by Latisse, and she's a filmmaker, and she's so sweet. She even created like a review of my gallery, and like it was really, really cute. And I loved that. And she actually, from there, she put together a virtual film showcase with other Black women filmmakers, and she was able to do that just being inspired by what she saw me do. So that's really like what I'm doing right now, is just showing people that it's possible, because I know when I first entered the space, when I first was just learning and just exploring and just, hopping into the Twitter spaces on Twitter, that was something that I didn't see, which kind of turned me off. Was like, well, it's all these like, all these guys here, all these white men here or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't really know if I fit in here. So I think I just kind of learned a little bit, educated myself as much as I can, and just started to do my own work and build on my own, and then try to figure out how I can bring value to my community.
And look at us, two Black women from neighborhoods not too far apart, in a jet in the metaverse together. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what I wanted.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about. Because just like you said, you come into this space, and at first it does feel lonely. I remember doing hashtag NFT community and be like, "Where's everybody at?" I thought everybody was on Twitter, and then
Literally.
you kind of get lost until you start finding that community.
Literally.
And so. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And so I would say then, what has been one of your challenges coming into this space, that you have faced, aside from, what we've gone over before? Was there anything that really stuck out to you that you had to overcome to get to where you were now, and that makes you feel comfortable that, hey, I've got my place established, I understand how to continue to build from here, and going into 2023 now, just building forward?
Yeah, so my biggest challenges was, first of all, finding that community. Like you said, I used to, because I didn't really exist on Twitter at all, for real. I mean, I had a little Twitter account, but like I probably had like 300 followers. Like, wasn't nothing happening at all there. MySpace was on Instagram. That's where I was more active. So I would go on Instagram, and I'm like, same thing like you, like NFT community, like DC, like what's going on. And I may have found like one or two very legit people though, like by the way. So, appreciate them, but it wasn't there. So I'm like, dang, I gotta build myself up on Twitter. I gotta build up my following. I gotta build this person up on Twitter, this presence up on Twitter. And so that was kind of a challenge for me, having to get on Twitter when I'm like kind of I be anti social media sometimes. I just I don't know. It's something I have to work through. But that became a challenge for me, building a Web3 space, because it's basically online.
Right. And
so I had to kind of get over that.
I 1,000% agree with you. I had no social media before I got back into Web3. Like, I had deleted the Facebook, like, because me and my husband, we drove cross country, left the DMV area and never looked back. And we like, why would we keep, all these social medias are going to have everybody thinking that, they're along for this journey. But then you start looking at businesses and you understand that necessity, right? And then you start from scratch, though. And it's a good opportunity, though, because I tried to connect with all those old people. And I was like, oh, wait, that's not what we're talking about, though. We're on and talking about different things. So it creates a new opportunity. Like you said, you found two really good people that are really great to sit there and be connected with now. And that's amazing because that all you need is one or two people. And so
exactly.
And so
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and those two people have been so resourceful in helping me build and just providing resources and just connecting, helping me connect the dots to build what I was building. So yeah.
Exactly. And so with that, I would love to see where you're even going to continue to evolve. We see where you've come from, what you've kind of, overcame to get to where you're at, and where you're going to be headed next. Because we know this is just the beginning for you and your galleries and your mission. And so with that, I would love to ask, what is one of your short-term and one of your long-term goals for you in this space?
So short-term, I would just like to continue educating myself. I mean, that's a long-term thing anyway, just because education is just continuous, it's lifelong. So I just want to continue educating myself and building up my community and continuing to deal with people. Long term would be to have my own community where we can have an ecosystem of people that really support each other and really ride for each other. That's my long term goal with my studio, Golden Studios. So just being able to have token gated events, like token gated virtual shows, just really utilizing everything that the space has to offer and building my community with that. And yeah, that's long term for me.
Awesome. And y'all see
also, I would like to host another art show. Remember I told you I help host the art shows in my studio. I would like to host another art show in the space, but I want to include other artists. So that's going to be something that I'm going to do.
Ooh. Some nice alpha right there, so y'all be on the lookout for that. And I would love to be of interest in there because I got some photography skills as well. I do call myself a self-proclaimed photographer as well, and I love connecting with other creatives. I think one of the things that always attracted me about photography is I've always been infatuated how everybody has their own life and their own perspective, right? And so we can all be looking at the same thing but get so many different perspectives from it. So I love connecting with other photographers and artists as well. And I think what you're doing is amazing. And all the physical and metaverse things, like you said, you're going to be an inspiration to so many other people and so many communities that are going to see you, that are going to hear you, and understand that there is room in the space for them as well. And they're going to come knocking at your door to say, "Hey, KynaKool, how do I get in from here?" And so with that, I'd love to kind of end these with asking if there was something that you can pass on a teenager or someone who is attempting to walk down your path, what would you tell them?
I would say yes. If you want to walk down my path, be inspired, but trailblaze your own path. That's the biggest thing. And be innovative. Go against the grain. If you see everyone doing something, I always think about ways that I could do it different and better, because as much as the world loves trends, we value people who have individual, unique ideas the most. Those are the real winners. And just put yourself out there, regardless of you feel like you're ready or not, if your work is perfect, it's not perfect. Put yourself out there. That's the most important thing, and you can always perfect things later. But don't ever think that you can't do anything. Anything you could think of, you could do.
And just do it, right? Get into it, and you'll learn, and you'll meet awesome people along the way. And that's it right there, folks. It looks like we have just landed and we're approaching KynaKool space where she actually showcases her amazing work. So we are going to be traveling over to her space here, which you can check out anytime in the Spatial metaverse, and actually go take a look at her amazing work here. So let's hop on over.
Flight crew, please prepare for landing.
And here we are in iHeart DC. Now, I know I've done a little bit of talking, but I'm going to let you lead and show us what exactly is going on here. So please lead the way.
Yes, so this is my exhibit that I love DC, and I've curated this exhibit. It features work from my archive that I've put together from the past 5 years, 2018 and 2021, and I've just put this together in hopes to create a portrayal of my city. So each section in this exhibit is it tells a different story of my city. So if we come here in this section, I like to highlight the artists and the musicians of DC. So Wale is a very instrumental musician that came out of this area, and he actually put a lot of these artists on, such as Spatial, who is another instrumental musician in the city, is really talented, and just goes on to showcase other artists as well. We have Shaglissy, Shorty. He's from Baltimore actually, but sometimes I know we like to not include Baltimore in the DMV, but to me, I think the more we embrace each other, the larger scale we can, showcase ourselves and appeal to the world. So I kind of like to throw that in there sometimes with, Maryland and Virginia. As a portrait of Little Chris from CLB and Sugar Bear, two iconic global bands, and they represent, Sugar Bear will represent the old school, Little Chris will represent the new school, and I just thought them in this picture together, this is just iconic. And
it is, man.
Backyard band. If you know, you know.
You got all the icons right there. My goodness, that's.
Yes, he just like them. And I go on to this section here. I kind of just highlight some photos that I've taken in my neighborhood. These are photos I've taken just on walks throughout my neighborhood and strolls throughout my neighborhood. So you kind of get a take on things that I see when I'm walking around, and it just kind of lets me highlight my community in a way where it sheds light on, some of the things that we have faced, such as just like over policing. Sometimes you see that, of course. This photo here, rest in peace to Rondo. He was actually killed because he was being chased by police on a moped, which was illegal, and that officer was actually charged with his murder. So that's just a little bit of,
wow,
some of the things you have to deal with. And you just take the time to look.
That's deep. And I love how, like you said, these are all just you outside of your neighborhood.
Yeah, I love this photo right here because to me it just represents perseverance and just fighting and just keep going. And that's just the message that I want to share with people, is to just keep going. So I really love that photo right there.
Fight for your life.
These are some more joyous photos that I feel like, because as I like to showcase our adversities, I also like to just showcase people just being people. And so here's just like different portraits of different people that I found interesting. I really love this photo here that I took of this lady. She was part of a community garden, Peabody Community Garden, and she was just watering her garden. And I just love this image because the message in it is her. She's watering her garden, beautifying her garden, but in return, she's actually beautifying the community and making the community beautiful. So when you water yourself and your own garden, you also are taking care of other people as well. And I just felt that message was beautiful, and that's why I really love that photo.
Wow.
And then at the final section at the other end, this goes more into my, let's walk over first. This is really easy. Okay. So this goes into my activism work that I've done, mainly on assignment for different publications. I have some work here. The majority of this work was shot during 2019, during the Don't Leave DC events where there was a new resident in fancy condos, and they tried to shut down some go-go music that was being played in a historical section of the city that's been playing there for years. And, they moved in and they were like, well, this music is a little bit too loud. And so from that point, Don't Leave DC became a hashtag, and everybody was kind of fighting in the city to keep go-go music alive. And that, since then, go-go has been doing this thing. So this was like the start of that, and I was able to capture a lot of it. This photo here, I really love this photo. I wasn't on assignment. I was just out protesting. This was after George Floyd was murdered, and we were like the city was on fire for days. So people were protesting for days. I think the protest I want to say it lasted 3 months. People were protesting. I think this was the third day of the protest, and I was just walking. We were walking downtown. We was on our way to the White House, and we stopped here to just take a little break while we were walking. And I just thought this photo was just so reflective, because this area is very historical. This is where Dr. Martin Luther King gave his speech, his march on Washington. And so I just thought it was just a historical place to kind of rest before we had reached the White House. And yeah, I really like that photo. But yeah, that's about it. Just a little recap of the exhibit. Of course, you can check it out on your time, and also if you go to my website and you click on the LFDC virtual exhibit, I give more information on how, if you wanted to purchase any prints, you can purchase prints. I frame and I sign them and I inspect them before I ship. So you can find that information directly on my website.
Wow, I am excited. I love your work, and I know it was crazy. My husband's seen your work first, and he's actually, from the city. So, I'm from, like I said, a rural part outside of it. So, it's a cultural difference, but it's still, you feel me? We still all in the same area, and we still all black in that area, so we still all, experience that. And when I seen this and how you brought that experience into the metaverse, I'm like, this is why that representation matters, because you are here, but look how many other black people you brought into this space, and look how you get to show this story from your perspective that actually lives there, that actually knows these people, and can show how they want to be represented in this metaverse. And, people from all over the world get to come through this metaverse, and hopefully people all over the world watch this and have watched you explain your story and watch you explain this gallery. And it's going to be something that, again, like you said, gets to live on. And so I'm excited that you took the time to actually show me and the viewers watching this. And like I said, just excited for everything else that you have in store for your gallery, your work, and just excited to be able to have a chance to know you.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it, honestly. This was my first interview, my first tour of the space. And it's just these type of moments that encourage me to keep building, and this type of recognition and love that just encourages me to keep going. So I really, really do appreciate it.
Yes, keep going, man. It's a gift, and not all of us have that gift, but when we got it, God gave it to you for a purpose. And like you say, even if that purpose is watering your garden so that it beautifies the entire garden. And so, just keep going, just like you told everybody else to. So, and y'all heard her, she wants to keep building. So if you want to be a part of building with her as well, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Follow her on Twitter and on Instagram. Come visit the gallery, like it. You seen she just went live, so you'll get notifications every time she is having an event in here. But y'all heard, she's not about to be stopping. So you definitely want to join the fun now and stay tuned for more. So Kyna, did you have any last words you would like to tell the people before we sign off for today?
I just hope that y'all continue to stay blessed, continue to stay healthy, and continue to support one another, pour into one another, and let's get ready for the new year. We're taking over.
Let's get it. Y'all heard that. We taking over. And as y'all know, it's your favorite host, Mo, aka the Mocasso of NFTs. And like Kyna said, we taking over. 2023 is definitely not ready for us, but we're coming regardless. So like I said, make sure you have liked, commented, and subscribed so you don't miss a thing. Peace.
On behalf of the flight crew, thank you for flying with us and have a pleasant stay.